Oh, check one. Now it's going, isn't it? I'm sorry about that. Okay. Well, that's a pain in the ass. All right. So sorry about that audio video, people. I appreciate that. That sucks. It should be working now, and there we are. You're all loudly complaining. Best 14 minutes. It's the Marcel. Here we are. Oh, sorry. Where even was I? No, I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened there. I think it was. It just went. The input capture that I was used to. I went away. I should have done that on the checklist when I started with the podcast. Okay. So anyway, I talked about, if you missed the first part of it, I talked about this guy, the candidate, Spencer Pratt. And now Spencer Pratt he's broken this scandal open, which I just played, which had to do with the left, these NGOs just sucking up all the money. But anyway, the guy's been totally on fire. And you can see, like all this, most of these videos that I've put out there anyway. But his videos have been fantastic. And I was telling everybody that there's this one where this woman is not wearing many clothes, and it's obvious that she's saying, now I can walk around and everything's fine. And that's what I'm trying to say, that this guy's going to change LA and just make it make sense again, because it hasn't made any sense. It's been absolutely terrible, and everybody knows it's been terrible. But this guy, Spencer Pratt, has been just kicking ass, and the left does not know what to do about this. It's not what they're calibrated to fix. He has been just doing so well and been so impressive that they don't know what to do. And it's awesome to watch. We'll see what happens. Remember, it's still LA. It's still in a psychotic place, but it is a good start. Certainly a very good start that things are working this well. All right, let me see. I make sure I sent myself another thing here. Okay, yeah, I was just reading the piece of hate mail that I got. Somebody's mad at me. They said the podcast without Steve is nothing much, but Steve's adjusting to his new life. Yada yada yada. Joking about syphilis, about lusting after Democratic rep who refused to let John into her extravaganza. Yada yada yada. But so here's the thing that people should know, and it's not you guys. This is a main wire person. Here's the thing. One, we think about every show and plan every show and have an idea why we're doing everything. So if you have Jack Gately on, that's because he can also opine, and plus we on cross promotion with Jack Gately's people. Same with Jess Machado. Same with Grace Curley. And it's good cross promotion. We're all doing the same thing. And so we'll continue to have those people on the Main Wire TV. We want to grow, and we are trying to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And those people are also good in the air. So that's what that is. And I will continue to be me. And yes, I was talking about the Democratic woman being hot. She's hot. And yeah, I talked about if famous and a ball player, and 21 years old, that yes, I'd probably get syphilis. I did say that, yeah. And the thing that you need to have to understand, and this is, once again, this is for the Main Wire folks, is that it has to be interesting for the people doing the talking, or else it just sucks. So it has to be. And that's why we bring different things up. And plus, I want to have fun. Steve's very serious. John's very serious. I mean, they're very good too, and they're great people, and I love working with them. But you gotta have a little fun, Everybody, calm down. So before I get to this incredible woman, do you guys know her? Do you know Helen Andrews? I don't know if you know her. But Helen Andrews is absolutely fantastic. And she's an author. She's got to be some kind of a lecturer. But I discovered through through the I forgot what the podcast name is, with Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak. They played this cut of her, and I thought she's brilliant. She summed up exactly how the left got turned and distorted just into the people that they are now. Here's a little bit of that.
So men are much better at resolving conflict and then moving on, whereas women tend to hold on to things and sort of not move on after conflict. And that's what we saw a lot during wokeness. People were targeted for behavior or for making statements that were un-PC. And until, pre-wokeness, the way you would deal with a situation like that is you would have a debate. James Damore would be at Google and he would say, I think female underrepresentation in science is due to biological attributes and not bias. The way to deal with that is to have a conversation about whether he's correct or not. The way wokeness deals with that is by saying, I can't believe you just said that. I'm going to get you fired from your job. Wokeness was an inability to have any kind of open debate because the very existence of that debate seemed too much like conflict, and conflict had to be suppressed. And this was just so massively toxic for so many institutions since 2020. And the reason why I think it's important to consider whether wokeness is a product of demographic feminization is because if it is, that means wokeness is not over. They think, Donald Trump won the election, wokeness is finished, we can all move on, the vibe shift is here. But I think that if wokeness is just female patterns of behavior in institutions where women were not as well represented until recently, then that means it's here to stay and we need to deal with it head on. I think a lot of us would accept that in many cases, fields become more and more feminized, not because women are out competing men within that field, but because women are feminizing that field and making it more and more friendly to feminine preferences and patterns of behavior. Like if you're working at a business that is so HRified that it's like, the HR lady designed every aspect of your day-to-day office experience. She determined who advanced at that company, who got the best promotions and the best assignments, and everything was touchy-feely in a HRified type of way. Obviously, a masculine man is not going to do well in that environment, and he's not going to advance. But that's not because he's not competitive. It's not because he's not good at his job. It's just because that kind of highly feminized organization is not friendly to his virtues and attributes. So I think when we consider how do we deal with feminization, if it's something we want to roll back, how should we go about it? That's the first place to look. Are there any institutions or organizations that are too feminized in this unnatural way?
And she's great. That once again, that's Helen Andrews, and she says a little bit more on this as well when she talks about Larry Summers and what happened to him at Harvard University.
That's right. Larry Summers, well, the president of Harvard is always a very powerful person, but I think even by those standards, Larry Summers was an exceptionally powerful
the Daily Signal
president of Harvard. He had been in the Clinton cabinet. He had been at the World Bank. He was one of the most well-connected men in the Democratic Party. He was also enormously accomplished as an academic. He was just a really smart, sharp economist.
And still very influential.
Still, he's still all of those things.
Yeah.
Whatever else he may be in addition. But that made it all the more shocking that he was felled by a scandal. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of things going on during his presidency at Harvard and a lot of professors that he alienated that eventually led the faculty to have a vote of no confidence in him. But the one that mattered more than any other was a controversy where he was completely and entirely correct. And there was, in an objective sense, no scandal really at all. What had happened was the National Bureau of Economic Research had held a conference on women in science. And Summers had been invited to speak on the subject of how to get more women into science. And the remarks were supposed to be off the record, and they were also extemporaneous. So this was not delivered remarks. He was just giving his sincere assessment of where the real barriers to women's advancement in the hard sciences lay. And he identified, too, that were a little bit difficult to talk about. The first is the male and female bell curves in terms of aptitude. You see this in a lot of other characteristics as well, that there are just tend to be more men at the extremes, both extremes, the extremes of lack of intelligence and also extremes of intelligence. So there are simply more men than women way out there at the tail end of the bell curve. And the other is consistent differences in interests. That is, even when you do have women who are high-powered enough upstairs to make it as tenured Ivy League professors, they tend to be drawn to disciplines that involve human beings as opposed to really super abstract things like theoretical physics. So Larry Summers gave these remarks, which were well within the scientific mainstream in terms of psychology and studies that have been done, and yet their response among the women professors in the audience was to say, "How dare you?"
Mm-hmm.
In fact, these women went to a reporter, which they were not supposed to do because the talk was supposed to be off the record. But they went to a reporter and they said, "I had to stand up and leave or else I would have fainted, or I was about to throw up." Now, to be clear, there were also some women in the audience who, when the New York Times called them to get their sense of this scandal, there was one economist, Paula Stephen, who gave the quote, "This is what happens at a scientific conference. You hear ideas you disagree with, and then you debate them on the basis of reason and evidence." But there were enough women who said that what Larry Summers had said was beyond the pale, that they were able to extract from him not one, but 3 statements of apology, and eventually tar him as a misogynist. So these women were able to take down one of the most powerful men in America without ever really offering any evidence or even any argument that he was wrong. They just said that what he said was offensive, made them want to throw up. And that is the style of debate that characterizes wokeness, not having conversations, but shutting down conversations.
Yep. Isn't she great? Helen Andrews, once again. And she absolutely nails it. She's got one more thing I want to play here. This, once again, this is about the origins of wokeness. I think this one we haven't played.
You wrote an article based on a speech you gave at the NatCon conference, which exploded the internet. I think it's
This is a trigonometry podcast.
Went super viral, caused a lot of debate and discussion. And it's basically, I mean, I'll let you say it in your own words, but it's kind of a little bit about how the fact that women now control or at least represent the majority of the employees at many institutions is one of the reasons that society has gone the way it has. Is that fair?
I think that's fair to say. Some people have reacted to the piece by, acting as if I'm saying women cause all the problems in the world. I'm definitely not saying that, but I am saying that feminization has caused one specific particular problem, and that is wokeness. Like a lot of people, I was baffled by the woke phenomenon. Why did everyone seemingly go crazy all at once in the summer of 2020? It was inexplicable. It seemed to be mass hysteria, genuinely. And the more I thought about what caused it, which is a very important question, because if we know what causes it, we know how to prevent it from happening in the future. I read an article that someone else wrote that put forward a really simple, elegant thesis, which is that wokeness is simply feminine patterns of behavior applied to institutions where women had not been very well represented until recently. Women tend to be more focused, consensus-oriented. Men, when they're approaching a moral question, will ask, what are the facts? What are the rules? Whereas women will say, what are the relationships at play here? How can we make everybody happy?
Yes,
How
yes,
can we reach
yes,
an
yes.
outcome that will satisfy all the parties, as opposed to the male perspective of how do we reach an outcome that is just and according to the rules. That sounded a lot like wokeness to me. And the sort of piece that made it all click into place for me was the coincidence of timing. It is the case, just we can all agree as a matter of fact, that a lot of institutions that went woke or were affected by wokeness became demographically female in the last 5 years. Law schools in America turned majority female in 2016, and they've gotten a little bit more female every year since then. I think now it stands at 55, 56%. The New York Times became majority female in its workforce in 2018.
Great, right?
which is maybe why it was so susceptible to the fads of wokeness and the internal policing and the Slack revolts that took place internally over there. Medical schools are now majority female. The white-collar workforce overall, employees in the United States with college degrees, a majority of them are women. And managers, management positions in the U.S. workforce, 46% female, so almost majority female. So the fact that all of these institutions tipped over to being majority female around the same time that wokeness emerged seemed to me that couldn't possibly be a coincidence.
And
Does it make sense, though?
there's so many questions.
It's been chickified. And not you ladies who are listening to me, but you know what kind of women. It's the people who don't, who are just think about compassion. It's compassion. No matter what, we have to affirm him. No, poor thing, yes. No, he's allowed to do whatever he wants. It's women of some means always have compassion. And they lead with compassion rather than logic. I think I've talked before. In high school, there was this friggin' dirtbag who was dating this girl who I loved at the time, of course. But the dude was such a stupid dirtbag and so crude and mistreated her and lied to her and was cheating on her, like all this stuff. But her mother, they were from Winchester, and they had a beautiful big house, and her mother loved him and said, no, we need to understand that he's different than because he was some like trashy dirtbag from a poor town near us. And it was like, no, you don't, just because somebody's a piece of crap doesn't mean you have to embrace him. I used to try to tell her this, but no, she still, like 15 years ago, was talking about how what a nice boy was. I was like, he wasn't a nice boy then, and he was just dirtbag, whatever. But that's the nature of this thing. Oh, these are the same people who just, these are the same people who care way too much about dogs. I'm sorry. I know dogs are good, whatever. But yeah, that's what they're doing. Oh, you know what? No, we can't. It's our fault. We did it to them. We shouldn't have. Oh, come on, man. You can't live in this world. We can't have a civilization if everybody's too scared to just say the truth about some things. We can't. And that's how we got here, where things are so twisted in so many ways. It's like, stop it. Stop doing that thing. So, before we do the chat, I want to get to something else. And I'm sorry, guys, I don't have time to redo the first part of the show. It didn't miss much. For those watching the video. But it reminds me of just so 2020, we all were, it was a crazy and stupid year full of compassion and misguided compassion. Remember, they got rid of the name plantation from Rhode Island, which was not a slave plantation. It's not what it ever referred to, but they got rid of that. They got rid of a whole bunch of statues, including statues erected by slaves in cities, including in Boston. It was a stupid and twisted and crazy freaking time. And these people, and it's by far the people on the left, they couldn't take what was going on, or they decided they hated Trump so much that it gave them permission to distort and attack and ban people, because that's who they really want to be anyway. They're all freaking Jacobins. These people sold their souls and freaking lied. They used their expertise. They used their credentials to lie to you. Which brings me back to, I know this is old, and we've all played this and heard this before. But it hit me today that when Joe Rogan had Sanjay Gupta on and took him to task for CNN, really slandering Rogan and calling him dangerous and all that stuff. Sanjay Gupta has probably millions of Twitter followers. He's an influential guy. He probably speaks to people around the world. He was a credible medical, person. I want you to listen to this again, now that we've had a little bit of time. The back and forth of Sanjay Gupta and Joe Rogan.
By the way, I'm glad you're better. I'm glad it only lasted a day.
You're probably the only one at CNN that's glad.
No. We're not.
The rest of them are all lying about me taking horse medication. And we should talk about that.
That bothered you.
It should bother you too. They're lying at your network about people taking human drugs versus drugs for veterinary.
Calling it a horse dewormer is not a flattering thing. I get that.
It's a lie. It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a willing. That's a lie that they're conscious of. It's not a mistake.
Yeah.
They're unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine.
Well, the FDA put this thing out.
By the way, this is Gupta totally capitulating on what Rogan is saying. He's playing dumb at the same time. He's acknowledging that. He's essentially saying now, yeah, everything that I was saying and that we were saying back then wasn't right, but we had, like, he's now admitting, like, how does this guy still have a medical license? It's freaking amazing. It hit me today, you know, that, like, wait a second. He went on there and said, well, okay, fine. All of the things tisking you and us, like, breaking down into tears because people were dying of COVID and getting you banned and, you know, just slandering all of you people on and telling you that the mask did work and telling you social distancing and destroying your kids. Okay, fine. Oh, fine. Well, I'm doing Rogan now, so I might as well just win the show and just agree that that was all BS.
You saw that. Did you see that thing that the FDA put out?
What did the FDA put out?
It was a tweet, and it was snarky. I admit it. They said, you are not a horse, you are not a cow, stop taking this stuff, or something.
No, he admits it now. Back then, he was on Team Snark.
Like
Why
that.
would you say that when you're talking about a drug that's been given out to billions and billions of people, a drug that was responsible for one of the inventors of it making
Nobel Prize.
winning the Nobel Prize in 2015?
15, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
A
Oh,
drug,
yeah, Nobel Prize. Oh, yeah. Oh, now he's all in, right? Freaking amazing.
that has been shown to stop viral replication in vitro. You know that, right? Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer? I can afford people medicine, motherfucker. This is ridiculous. It's just a lie.
I don't think anyone is...
But don't you think that a lie like that is dangerous on a news network when you know that they know they're lying?
All right, hang on. The thing is, we're like going so fast. Like I feel
Oh,
like
we're going
I'm
so
missing-
fast. Gupta is admitting, okay, yeah. Yeah, no, that was a lie. Oh, sure. That was, like, how do you don't have to pay you don't have to pay the piper at all?
I'm missing.
Do you
I
think
want
that that's a problem, that your news network
was not-
lies?
Well, I don't. I mean,
Dude.
what did they say?
They lied
What did
and
they
said
say?
I was taking horse dewormer. First of all, it was prescribed to me by a doctor.
Yeah.
Along
They
with
shouldn't have said
a
it was horse.
bunch of
If-
other.
Oh, well, what about Sanjay? What about back then? Did you say anything, or were you all the other people saying it's horse dewormer?
If it was-
medications.
If you got a human pill, because there were people that were taking it, the veterinary medication, and you're not, obviously. You got it from a doctor, so that it shouldn't be called that. Ivermectin.
Where were you when we needed you? You freaking turncoat piece of crap. Freaking zero freaking conscience. Piece of crap. This guy's just a piece of crap. I know this is old audio, but I want a new freaking reckoning. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, that was all lies. So, but we're not going to dwell on that anymore. Now this next one, we really mean it now. The freaking Santa Hanta virus or whatever. This one's like, shut the fuck. There's nobody who has less credibility than you. RFK did not lie to me about COVID. He did not do that.
be a very effective medication for parasitic disease. And as you say, it's probably, I think a quarter
Wow,
billion.
were you saying any of this back when it counted? No. He said none of this while it counted. Oh, God, it makes me so freaking angry. So freaking angry. Oh. And here he is, like, buddy. Oh, yeah, they shouldn't have said, horse dewormer, my goodness.
Billion people have taken it around the world.
More,
I get that.
Way more.
So
Way more.
Can,
Billions of people have taken it.
Can I just come back to the one I want to talk about? Two things on
You
the
have
ledger.
you have, before we get to that, does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
Yeah, why were you complicit, Sanjay? Freaking snake. All these people are freaking snakes. All right, let's do the chat. And once again, I'm sorry about that audio for the video, folks. I've learned the lesson learned. Okay, it's my fault. I didn't, the problem with, do you want to hear an excuse? Doesn't matter. I found that the challenge with using a Mac with stuff, it's infinitely much better. Here I am throwing Tommy out of the bus. It's infinitely much better than using PCs always in every single way. Always. I was not a Mac person, and then I became a Mac person like 10 years ago or so. But you need to experience quirky miscues and the tiny little tech issues in order to know how to troubleshoot them quickly. And that one for using the video thing was not one that I've been used to. I've never seen that problem before, but now I have. So sorry. Okay. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Hey, Billy from Manchester.
Hey, Billy.
I just threw up in my mouth just knowing that Tom has very oily stool.
What?
7 seconds.
Who said that? Is that true at all? I don't think that's true. And also, look, I don't. If that were true, I would never even mention it. I don't think. Would I?
Under a spreading chestnut tree, the village smithy stands. The smith, a mighty man is he, with large and sinewy hands, and the muscles of his brawny arms are as strong as iron bands. Love me.
Do I get that, Cheswick?
Under a spreading chestnut tree, the village smithy stands. The smith, a mighty man is he, with large and sinewy hands, and the muscles of his brawny arms are as strong as iron bands. Love me.
I'm going to have to, Cheswick, I'm sorry. My mind is slow. I'm going to have to figure out what that is. I was near a walnut tree a few days ago, though. Was it yesterday? No, it was Friday. That's right. You probably don't care about what tree I was near.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
Can we have a little discussion about Tom's dentist
Yeah.
office etiquette? Tom, you know the movie, the first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
Really?
The first rule of dental cleaning is you don't talk. What
Really?
is wrong with you? This poor hygienist. I want to take any money I'm contributing to Patreon and give it to this GoFundMe for this dentist to get her out of that job. Oh my God. Well, Miss Dental Hygienist, I used to have an abusive dentist when I was very young. It was Dr. So-and-so. And,
Dr.
okay,
Dan.
Mr. Shattuck, open your mouth. And another thing, I married the love of my life, Alice, and we have 5 children together. Okay, Mr. Shattuck. Oh, God, you're a nightmare.
I didn't think of that. Shit. I didn't think of that. I figured that, talkative is better. It's in between pain administers. Come on. Who would want to talk to me?
Hey, Billy from Manchester.
Billy.
I'm not ready to put this AI Alice kissing her younger self thing to rest just yet.
Thank
But
you.
I think the listeners have to remember how these two met. I mean, Alice was a groupie for Tom Shattuck because he had a good radio show.
Here we go.
I mean, that's how this relationship was forged. This wasn't a blind date. This wasn't friends meeting each other. This wasn't across the bar. She loved Tom Shattuck's voice and said, I'm going to be his groupie. What do you think is going to happen? Of course there's going to be memes made up of this. 37 seconds. And I don't hate Alice. I don't hate Tom. I just hate the direction of the show. So that's it. So all these people can just rest assured I'm still listening. P1 proud, but fading. Fading fast. Fading fast. Just never have VB on 54 seconds.
So, other people have said groupie. It's not, groupie's a rather trashy thing. Like she was hanging around studio events and she wasn't. I wouldn't mind it if she was, so yeah, no, she reached out to me on Facebook because we had her on one time. She called and defended me on the Michael Graham show. And hold on. She called in one time. I remember she called in one time to maybe she was a groupie. She called into the Andelmans one time. And because she liked it. She liked the humor. She liked the humor of older guys talking. But yeah, she liked me definitely, and she called and defended me on texting and driving. And I was debating Michael Graham, and then she followed up and texted me on Facebook or messaged me on Facebook and said, "Hey, by the way, I took your call. Thanks for much for taking my call. I'm such a geek, but I'm so glad you accepted my friend request." Obviously, she was attractive, blonde. Obviously, accept friend request. And then I responded with a series of lies about my life, and then eventually we had a date. But like, in a sense, you're right, Billy. She definitely did like my personality already, because when we had this date, she was laughing at everything I said was hitting. She was like looking at me a little bit with Google eyes or Gaga eyes, whatever they are. But I couldn't miss. I was like nervous. I was hitting so well, and I it was amazing. And then we were with Mel Robbins at the time, the world famous podcaster Mel Robbins now, and some other guys. So it was 3 versus 1. Mel and her went to the bathroom, and Mel came back and said, "She really likes you. She's really into you, Tom." Like, oh, that's good. I like that. So that was great. But yeah, so I wouldn't say a groupie. It's a little bit, but she was definitely. That's the thing. It's like, and she wasn't the only one. And I took her at Alice to this event, and the second most beautiful woman I'd ever seen in my life, who was probably Alice's age as well, like cornered me in this party and said, "I just think what you do is so incredible, and I'm so touched that I even know you." And I'm like, wait a second, I'm 37 and now suddenly like this is my time? But by that time I was with Alice, and it was already spoken. I don't even that makes me angry that God like waited and said, "Okay, let's get him one," and then yeah, whatever. I am stunted. Whoever that was who said I was stunted, you're right. So, yes. But she looked so beautiful tonight. I was with Alice tonight. We had not great Chinese food, and she looked like ravishing. What is this? She still laughed at a whole bunch of stuff I said. It's amazing. So she thinks I'm funny, and she likes me. That is just, I don't know how. I don't know why. It's not a steady stream of beautiful blonde women who have liked me. It's mostly horrific stories of my failed social life my whole time. But that's what it is. That's what it is. Oh, I do miss pad thai. I had pad thai again tonight. It's been a while.
Just like to discuss real quick something that Marco Rubio said. He said, the theater gets dark just to start the show. Then you spot a fine woman sitting in your row. She's dressed in yellow. She says hello.
Come sit next to me, you fine fellow.
You fine fellow. And that, of course,
Bust a Move.
Is Bust a Move by Young MC.
Yes.
And what he's referencing there is we're going to nuke Iran.
Oh, I see. Oh, wait, is that what the first one was about too, Cheswick? Listen to that one again.
Under a spreading chestnut tree, the village smithy stands. The smith, a mighty man is he, with large and sinewy hands, and the muscles of his brawny arms are as strong as iron bands. Love me.
Was that is that Dropkick Murphys? Like Tessie or something? Oh no, the Deliverance, the Disciple, the one in Charlestown. I don't know.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey,
and
Steve.
Another thing about the dental cleaning from hell.
No, that starts tomorrow. I get the right side done tomorrow, as a matter of fact, Steve. So tomorrow's going to be a bloodbath.
You're criticizing the reactions of the hygienist because she was being awkward, etc.? Buddy, look in the mirror. Oh, you know who you remind me of when you're telling this story? Remember the movie Airplane?
Yeah.
And Robert Hayes is sitting in seats next to various passengers and constantly telling them about his story of love with Julie Haggerty. And when they cut away and then cut back, the
It's a
passengers have all
skeleton.
committed suicide. You know, the Japanese guy commits seppuku with a samurai sword. There's an Indian guy that pours gasoline all over himself and lights himself on fire. And then the old lady, you just see her feet hanging when they cut back. She can't take the stories anymore. Tom, just freaking take your cleaning and shut up. Oh.
That's not bad, actually. By the way, I know the woman who you mentioned, who was playing Robert Hayes' girlfriend, is a dead ringer for the girl who I was dating, or wanted to date then, whose mother loved the dirtbag. That's also the same girl who lost her virginity, who I loved, who lost her virginity when the other guy sang "Wonderful Tonight" to her, and then that song played every single day of my life on every radio station ever when I was in it. That same girl became my girlfriend when I turned 30 years old. And then a slew of disasters happened. And it's all bad news. But there you go. But she looked just like her. People know who I mean. Some people know. She's very pretty. She still is. Okay. What do I do now? Oh, yeah. I apologize for those for that stuff that happened, guys. I am sorry about that. All right, for the Patreon people, for people watching, I apologize, especially since you guys are great, and I know that you pay for this product and you got a crappy first few minutes to it, but that never happens, by the way. So if you're going to join Patreon, do it now. The fixed version starts now. That guys who are already there, don't cancel. So please join the Patreon. I really appreciate it. I love it, and it makes me happy. Coming up, by the way, I have this great Facebook story.